Welcome, everybody. My name is Mike Klingler. We will be connecting with you over the next hour about how to create a meaningful brand. I'm going to be introducing you to Robyn Linn in just a moment, but for those of you who've never met me, I'll just share a little bit about my experience. Over the last 20 years, most of my work is really revolved around entrepreneurship, developing the mindset to be able to be what I often refer to as, and many of you have probably heard, referred to as a deliberate creator. And what does that really mean? To be able to deliberately create what you want to see in your life, in your relationships, in your business, knowing that you're not the only variable in that, but a major influence in what you experience and what you create around you. And I created many successful businesses. Early on, there was a lot of fear driving me, as there is for many people. A lot of fear of how am I going to pay the bills? A lot of fear in and around, am I good enough? I don't have a lot of the skills, and I don't even know if I like the business culture anyway. So what am I going to do? So I can relate if many of you have experienced some of these things or feel that you maybe don't have the time or the money or the wherewithal or the courage to really step into fully expressing yourself in the world and creating the life that you really want for yourself and having the impact that you want to have. I understand what that feels like. Now, some of you have grown beyond that. You've moved through that. And over the years, I moved through that. In 2010, I made a major transition. I shared a little bit of this in an email that some of you may have seen, where I started to realize that my strength and where I was deriving a lot of my courage, it was driven from a place still, it was buried, but still fear-based. I tried to control a lot of my circumstances. And I used a lot of what we might consider masculine traits to influence people. And some of this is ingrained, from our culture and throughout my experiences in my personality. As many of you, there are qualities that make up who we are that we don't need to get rid of or judge, but we become aware of, and we continue to evolve and shift as we experience more with these new observations of ourselves and the world around us. And for me in 2010, I made a very conscious decision to incorporate more feminine qualities into the way that I related with myself and with the world around me. And that included embracing words like empathy and understanding what that really means. And I think having two kids, not too many years before that, had a lot to do with this. And really starting to understand what nurturing means and what sustainability is, not just from a logical, mechanical headspace, but really internalizing all of these things. And I started to really listen and open up to messages from world leaders that were really embodying this message, people like the Dalai Lama, which we'll talk about in just a little bit, but others as well. And I really wanted to bring this to my approach to business, to my relationships, to everything that I did. So I do want you to know that I have a tremendous amount of experience making money and doing marketing and developing brands from a logical, strategic perspective. But since 2010, I am inspired to share that I am applying these skills to empowering those who have very meaningful intentions, meaningful for the world, meaningful to empower other people. And you see just a few faces on the left side of the screen here. This is just a small sample of some amazing people that we have relationships with who are doing these things, who are creating inspiring, amazing businesses. And I'm excited to find out, who might be with us here tonight that will join us in this really an incredible movement. And we're not the only ones who are a part of this movement, but there's certainly something very special happening here. And we've put together a pretty incredible process that we're going to be sharing with you today that allows one to step into their courage, their confidence, and to create a brand that can really make a difference and supports you financially at the same time. Now, I want to introduce you to Robyn Linn, who is one of the leaders and the major influencers who drives what we do. There are many, and she is a powerful force who helps people work on their voice, helps people connect to their message, and helps people communicate through their brand authentically so that you can attract your audience, the right people who are really going to get the value that you offer. So I'm going to hand this over to Robyn here in just a moment and have her share a little bit about what we mean when we talk about making a difference in the world. And you see the slide on the screen. The Dalai Lama recently said, "The world will be saved by the Western woman." I'm going to come back to you in just a moment. As a guy, I'm going to share with you what that means to me. I want to introduce you to Robyn now, who will share with you what that means for her and what it might kind of help you reflect on what it might mean for you.
The world will be saved by the Western woman. What does he mean by this? The Dalai Lama, women around the world, and as you hear Mike speak to, men have risen up to a new level of contribution and impact based on something a little bit more inspiring. And as someone who began a career in media and marketing and branding, I worked for corporations in a high gloss magazine in the health, fitness, and wellness industries. It was my quote unquote dream job. After graduating college, I appeared to have it made by the world, and it wasn't that way for me internally. I spent many years suffering, and at the age of 16 onward for 11 years, had a terrible eating disorder that kept me in and out of my head, going in and out of who am I, what am I really here to share, and why am I so important? What am I really all about? It was about me serving a greater purpose. There's a way that we can redefine who we be in business. And that was my goal, that was my intention, and that was my purpose, to help others be able to access a deeper calling within them and make money doing something more inspiring and meaningful. So when I began to learn, and not just from a headspace, oh, that sounds great, it was more about how can I inspire women? How can I inspire people to step up and into your own skin, regardless of the physical aspect of what you look like? So it took me many years to come to the realization of what I'm really here to do. And that is where many of you have heard me discuss turning your life story into a business comes from. Being you in business isn't just a tagline, it's something that I stand by. It's something that I rise up to on a moment-to-moment basis, and it's something that I am calling to those women, those of you, some of who I've had the pleasure of connecting with already, to join us in this movement, to make it real, to not just keep it as an idea or a dream or something that sounds or feels great for the moment, but to truly step forward and into it. So I'm going to bring it back to Mike now to bring a little bit of his essence to it.
Okay, guys, and we're going to move soon into this process that I shared with you at the beginning of how we work with people to help them create all of this, to create their meaningful brand, their products, their business, and the confidence to fully own it. But just before we move into that, I just want to come back to something I shared at the beginning where I had a lot of business success. I had made a lot of money, but I was really chasing it. It was very externally driven, meaning there was little connection, there was little meaning. I thought if I could just make enough money, then I could move into the meaningful life that I envisioned. And I'm here to say from that experience that it will never happen for as long as you don't step into it now. There is no amount of money, and you could look at the billionaires of the world that are really far from sustainability and connection and see quite vividly that no amount of money will be the answer to stepping in right now to your voice for meaning and connection and making that difference that you want to make. As a guy, why would I be representing this message, the world will be saved by the Western woman? A direct quote from the Dalai Lama recently. First, what does he mean by that from my perspective? I referenced it a little bit throughout this. I believe he's talking about connection. I believe he's talking about understanding. I believe he's talking about qualities that we see in a mother, nurturing qualities, caring qualities, the opposite of where I was when I was in what I was modeling and what I learned in school at the university about business, which was very disconnected, which was all about the bottom line. I believe that we have turned a corner as a culture. We're seeing the destruction. One of the rivers now, I believe it's in Colorado, I'm not sure. I'm sure many of you have seen, has just been flooded with toxic waste because of the uncaring approach that we take to business and economy and environment. I believe we're turning a corner of awareness. And I believe what the Dalai Lama here is speaking to, what I am feeling called to do is make the bottom line, the way we make our money, the way we message ourselves to our business and branding, about transparency, authenticity, connection. We need to start connecting with each other. We need to start listening more. We need to start understanding. And all in all, in the end, we have to start caring more if we want to see a better world for our children. So this is what this means to me, and this is why I'm here. And a lot of the examples of the businesses that I'm going to share with you that represent a meaningful brand, the people that we've worked with, and I've worked with hundreds of people, embody this. And I think you're going to see that. And I'm sure many of you that are attracted to what we're doing, that are here today, have very meaningful business ideas that you've either started doing or that you're thinking about doing. We want to help you bring those to life. We want to help you make it happen now, because it will never happen for as long as it's tomorrow. As long as you're romanticizing the idea of it and you're not actually serving people now with that intention, that calling that you're feeling, until you're serving people every day with it, starting right now with the resources you have right now, it will never happen. So I hope that through this session today, we can connect you to your dreams right now, your calling right now, your meaningful brand coming to life right now. You see on the screen here 3 different schools: Coaching Cognition, School of Online Business, and Whole Life EDU. I just want you to know there's a lot of people behind this, not just Robyn and I. Barbara Silva there on the left, heading up our coaching school, really focused on the connection skills, the listening skills. Also, it's not just communication, but also how do you problem solve with a clear mind? How do you effectively create an action plan? How do you chunk up a big goal, a big vision that you have, and turn it into action steps and be able to see your progress and not feel this heavy weight or this overwhelm as you're creating your vision? Very important. School of Online Business there represented in the middle. That's me speaking at one of the events several years ago. That was very disconnected, by the way. Some of you on this call might actually have been there. There were over 1,000 people there, all about making money. And I came there with this message, and it was a little awkward on stage as they looked at me dumbfounded. But that was the beginning of a new type of business consulting that I moved into. A Whole Life EDU with Robyn Linn there on the right, kind of bringing the two together, the mechanical strategic skills that I'm going to talk about somewhat today from School of Online Business, and the connection skills and coaching skills of Coaching Cognition, merging those together to embody it in Whole Life EDU, to really express it through a brand or express it through your voice, express it through your messaging. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about a process. I'm going to talk about a process that we've used for many years now to help people go from either not having an idea, but just having an intention, looking for more meaning, and discovering that through the process I'm going to share, or many people already successful in business or having products and so forth, but they didn't feel authentic, or it wasn't connecting with their audience. Through the same process, we help them create products, services, or a marketing and branding message that did connect to themselves authentically and to their audience. So whether you have an idea already, have a product, or already successful in business, or have no idea but just have this intention, the process I'm going to share with you helps you create an authentic, fully connected, bold brand that is meaningful and that can make a difference in the world. And I'll give specific examples of that to some of our students in a little bit. All through this process, here's the sections or the segments of your brand that this will help you uncover and bring to life. Here's what we do with you through this process. We work on your message, and we'll talk more about what message is here in a bit. Your offers, that could be your free offers, like the stuff that you're doing to engage with your audience, attract your audience, get them to register for your email list, connect and build that relationship, let them learn more about what you're doing. It could also be the products that you're selling. We also help you discover your price points, like how should you price your products, and the positioning. This is the strategic stuff. And I want to take a moment here and mention, for those of you who shrink down or feel, or you kind of close up when you hear about these kinds of things, I've got to tell you, this is nothing more than language. All of this is a means of communication. And it's a part of communicating what you want to see manifest in the world. So if you're afraid to talk about price points, or you're afraid to talk about money, or you're afraid to talk about strategy, all that is a conditioned, disempowering response. That is conditioned into you to keep those that are disconnected, who want to control the power, in power, doing what they want to do and keeping you powerless. It's really important to understand that. We're going to teach you a new language so that people can hear you when you talk about the ecology, or when you talk about confidence, if you're a coach, or when you talk about your meaningful business. We're going to work on your presentation. What I'm doing right now is a version of a presentation, a very authentic one, so it's quite different than your ordinary disconnected presentation that we're used to seeing. We're going to show you how to authentically step into influencing people transparently, educating people about things that you know are important authentically, transparently, effortlessly. All of this leads to confidence. Makes sense, right? When you can speak that language, when you can see that you're being heard, when you can see that you're getting paid for the value that you're offering and the things that you're envisioning happening are happening, when you enter into that process and see it unfolding, confidence, of course, comes to the surface. Branding. Branding is imagery. You're communicating through your imagery. Even your font styles are communicating an emotion. We help you discover every aspect of this through this process I'm going to be sharing with you today. Now, automation in the marketing funnel, that's making it so you can handle the workload, right? You have 24 hours in a day, some of that time set aside for yourself and self-care. Some of that's including hobbies or interests that you have that have nothing to do with business. Some of that has to do with your relationships with your children or loved ones. There's lots of things to do with your 24 hours. It shouldn't all be business. The automation and the marketing funnel that we'll talk about and that this process helps you set up allows you to be able to communicate with a lot of people, build a lot of relationships, and attract people to what it is you're teaching or offering or helping people do without it taking over your entire life. I want to say, before we move into each of these components with more clarity, that while this shouldn't overwhelm your life, it absolutely should become a part of your lifestyle. And that should be a good thing. You're approaching it wrong, whether consciously or subconsciously. You're being disingenuous if entering into your dream business is hard or overwhelming. That just means that some kind of shift has to take place internally. The way you're relating to the process, there's a glitch if you're not inspired and energized each day to serve people and speak to the message that's important to you. Let's now break down each of these components. And as I break down each of these components to bring more clarity to what each one really is, knowing that some of you already know some of this and others are just entering into this for the first time, understand that I'm then after that going to go into the process that helps all of this come alive for you in your own unique way. The examples that we show you, the images that we show you, have nothing to do with you. Yours will be unique. And that's the beauty of this process. It brings to life, it brings forth your message. So the screen you see right now is just an example of that, one of a unlimited number of possibilities. This is one of Robyn's core messages. It says, heal your life, turn your life story into a business that inspires. Now, here's what's really interesting. She's done a lot of things in her life. She's contributed a tremendous amount of value in different areas to different people at different times of her life. Now, she's a business consultant. That's basically what she is. Now, we could call it different things, but she's basically a business consultant. However, heal your life, turn your life story into a business that inspires does not sound like your typical disconnected, mechanical sort of approach to business consulting. And that's my point. That's why she's successful. That's why she's happy. And this embodies what we mean. Again, this is an example that won't end up looking anything at all like what you're doing. So it's important to look at many examples, knowing that none of them have anything to do with what your message will look like. But I want you to understand, when you really think about this, she's a business consultant, and she's saying, heal your life, and it's successful. Wow. Your message is going to be your own, though. Offers. Here are just a couple snapshots of different offers either being created or that have successfully been created by a couple different or 4 different students that we have. The one on the far right is an empowerment workshop, empowering kids interactive workshop. Incredible course, comes with a book. The book's getting picked up right now in the UK. That didn't exist, by the way, before Kathleen Boucher, a nurse, started working with us. She actually is an example of somebody who came here not knowing what she wanted to do, but knowing there was something. And that was developed through the process that I'm going to share with you today. Over there on the right, you see Steve, a farmer, a conventional farmer his whole life, but who stumbled upon a cost savings approach to his farm. Instead of using so many chemicals, which were costly and that killed the soil, he discovered a more cost-effective way to growing his produce, and he discovered that it actually costs less and it's better for the environment. And he's now teaching that, and his products and his message and his offers are all created out of that. Now, he came here knowing that he wanted to be the tabletop farmer and that he wanted to do this, but he needed a process to bring it to life. Down below is a picture of some chocolate. That's raw honey chocolate. Kristen Soge, she actually came to the school, another example of somebody who didn't know what she would do. She had a hobby that she had just started of making chocolate out of honey. And now she's not only building a business marketing raw honey chocolate, sweetened by honey, not sugar, but she's also building a network and educating a great deal around ecology and sustainability, and even started networking with beekeepers and creating a new certification that is better than those that we think of with organic foods and sustainability. So she is making a huge difference out there by marketing her hobby and selling raw honey chocolate. Over on the right is a book by Brooke Lyons, one product of many that she's created. This one, a beautiful story. Somebody had come to her who was dying, a father, and was really concerned about his daughter, and she helped him get in touch with how he could leave something behind for her to support her through her life. That's one of her offers, and certainly a beautiful and very touching one. Guys, what I want you to understand is none of these examples represent you. Each of you, though, have many different offers that are valuable, that the process that I'm going to share with you today can help you bring to life, whether you know what they are yet or not. Price points and positioning, I mean, you see the question there, what makes you different? When you approach actually selling your products and services and offers, whether they're coaching offers or they're programs or whatever they end up being, it's really important to have some help and to be thinking about where you're going to price it so that you can get started. And I often encourage people to start lower than it's worth so that you can build a line of people and then increase the price. But we help you navigate that, and not just price points, but also positioning. the way you're framing your message, the way that you're introducing it is going to attract a certain audience based on how you present it. You might have something that will be really good for lots of different audiences, but the process that I'm going to show you helps you uncover, helps you figure out which audience to focus on first and which audience of the many audiences that you could offer your products to or your services to, which ones are going to be the most grateful and are going to give back, not just financially by paying for it, but with gratitude. All of that very important. The process that I'm going to share with you today helps you figure all of this out. Presentation. So many of you are afraid to speak about the things that you care about. So many of you are afraid to fail, so you don't get on the camera, or you're afraid of what you look like, or you're afraid that it doesn't look sharp enough, or you don't know how to make the camera look good. You tried it and it's dark and it doesn't look good. The process I'm going to share with you helps you immediately step into the courage to be able to present what it is you're here to say. And really think about this. If days are going by, and I know for most of you they are, if days are going by and you're not presenting and you're not talking about the things that you're passionate about, and you haven't entered into serving people in the areas that you're inspired to do, you haven't really started living yet. If you're just romanticizing the idea of it, and you're just thinking about one day getting started, but there's all these excuses as to why you can't live your life now, doing what you're inspired to do, then you, by your own accord, have disconnected from all that is important to you in career, professionally, and you can't be a whole person. You can't grow if you're disconnected from what inspires you. And just thinking about it, romanticizing about it, is not the same as entering into it and doing it. The process I'm going to share with you is a non-scary, not scary way to step into the courage to begin opening up and connecting with real people about what's important to you and helping them and seeing that impact. Again, I'm going to get to that process in just a minute. Confidence goes without saying at this point, I think, that as you step into these things, your confidence will soar. Okay, branding, you see Voice Asana here. This is one of Robyn's brands where she helps people develop their voice and their presentations. And you see the branding, the imagery there. As you hone in to the process I'm going to share with you, as you hone in on your messaging, and as you begin connecting and engaging and serving people, talking about the things that are important to you and really helping people, even as you just get started, starting from where you are right now and your confidence grows and so forth, we want to put a brand to it that matches it energetically, that resonates with it. And as you look on the left there at the Voice Asana logo, this is just a part of the branding, the colors, it kind of looks like an audio sound wave, and then you see the V. This expresses it outwardly. The process that I share with you helps you find your branding, which is also through imagery, by the way, but this is an example through logo. It helps you find this and discover this, the process that I'm going to share with you. Automation and marketing funnel. We lose a lot of really important people in the world of business and economy when we start talking about this because it's mechanical and it just doesn't feel fun, it doesn't feel good to people. And I think that, again, has been conditioned into them because of the way our school system's set up. It weeds those people out of influential positions by disempowering the person, making them feel that their skills, their intuitive skills, aren't valued, like math and science and engineering, for example. Of course, that's BS. That's just those in power right now in this era creating a system and a model to perpetuate that belief system. But there's no question, and when you look at the Dalai Lama, he doesn't have those typical engineering skills. And look at the influence and power he has. He can sit down with the president, and the president will listen to every word he says. So that proves that that's BS. Now, you may not have the media spotlight that the Dalai Lama has. So you can use the internet. The internet is within your reach. In order to leverage it, in order to get your message out, in order to get in front of a lot of people, you're going to want to learn how to put your message into a marketing funnel. The process that I'm going to share with you is going to show you how to do that. It's going to lead you to exactly how do you capture the lead, exactly what do you say in the follow-up emails, exactly what content do you want to create, exactly what do you say so that they pay you money in exchange for the value so you can pay your bills and keep on serving. The process I'm going to share with you reveals that to you. So here's the first part of the process. This is the big picture part of the process. In order to understand the finite process that I'm going to share with you in a moment, you have to first understand the 3 Ps. Now, some of you are already doing aspects of this. But if you're not doing all 3, and if you're not aware of where you're at and what you're doing when you're doing it, it doesn't lead to the result that we're after. So here's what I mean by that. Personal practice, a lot of you are doing because you're doing it right now. That's thinking about it. It's got to happen. Earlier I said you can't stop there. And we're going to move to that here in a minute with peer practice. It can't stop there. But it does start there, and you have to continue to reflect. So personal practice is important, but you have to know when you're doing that and when you're moving into peer and professional practice. Personal practice is thinking about it, planning for it, dreaming about it, creating a vision board, reading, studying, buying courses. So many people right now on the internet who have a lot to offer are stuck in personal practice, purchasing trainings, going to seminars, going to events, getting all fired up, learning little pieces of the puzzle, and they just stay there. So personal practice has value, but if you stay there, your brand never comes to life. You never get paid, or you never get to fully express yourself in the world. So we don't want to stay in personal practice. At some point, we need to move into peer practice. Peer practice is when you're still trying to figure out what you want to say. You're still trying to figure out what you want to charge, what you want to sell. You're still trying to figure out your brand. You're still trying to figure it all out. But with what you know now, with where you're at right now, you're serving people where you can. You're connecting with people, or you're sharing with people pieces of your ideas, pieces of your messaging, so that you can get feedback, so that you can figure it out outside of your head. That's when it starts to come alive. That's when you plant the seed. You've taken the seed out of your pocket, personal practice, the seed's in your pocket. You put your hand in, you're like, oh, this is going to be a beautiful garden. This is going to be this is the only non-GMO seed of this kind left. But then nothing's really going to happen. That's romanticizing it, right? But this is going to be the tastiest apple. This is heirloom. I mean, this came from, Northern Ireland. It's not actually going to be an apple that anyone gets to enjoy. And eventually it will die as a seed, eventually. If you do not put your hand in your pocket, pull out the seed and plant it in the soil. That's peer practice. When you connect, when you share aspects of your vision, and this has to be constant, it has to be daily. You're bringing it to life. But it's not ready to sell yet. It's not formulated yet. You're doing what you can where you can. It might be in coaching. It might be in, like Steve, teaching people like he does in our community about soil and living soil. It might be helping people where he can, like he helped several people in our community create great gardens. One person, Bernadette, had hurt her back and couldn't till the garden like she used to, thought she couldn't really have a garden anymore. He said, no, you don't even need to do that. And he gave her some tips. That's his version of peer practice. And he gets feedback. She's like, wow. And she shares some pictures. Look at my beautiful garden. Thank you, Steve. And that gives him energy. It's reciprocated. He receives that gratitude that keeps him going. It brings his ideas to life. And then those are testimonies that he gets to share later in his marketing. But if you keep it personal and you're just going to seminars and workshops and listening to trainings and thinking and dreaming, you've never planted the seed. You've never allowed things to unfold that you could never plan for. You could never co-create. Professional practice is like what it sounds. That's when you start charging for your value, And the process that I'm going to share with you today actually supports all three of these. Most people that we meet are already in some level of personal practice, thinking about it, dreaming about it. So we quickly move them into pure practice right away, engaging with the community, sharing their ideas, getting feedback from qualified people, and then even starting to move into professional practice where they get paid in our community for providing value so that they can have the confidence to then take that outside the community, which we continue to support them to do, to take that to the next level and create a supportive income. Okay, so here are some examples of some videos of various students that have moved into peer practice, and some of these people are way beyond that in professional practice and having a successful business. Lori Wheeler in the upper left, a perfect example of that. A lot of people are afraid to connect and engage, but when you're in a safe environment where you can begin talking it out and sharing some of your fears and sharing some of the ideas that you have and get professional feedback from qualified people, it can bring out your confidence right away. And you start to work out what you're trying to say and what you're trying to create and what you're trying to do in the real world, in fertile soil. Pure practice is key. Now, here's the thing I really want to mention. A lot of you jump from personal practice to professional practice and skip pure practice entirely. In other words, you're trying to do pure practice professionally. You'll go hire somebody to put together your blog or website. You'll start shooting videos and putting together your products, and you start trying to sell them. Major challenge there. You're going to spend a lot of money and a lot of time on your own figuring it out. And some people have done that. I did that. But I spent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars making a lot of mistakes trying to figure it out. In this community, you see people move through this very rapidly. So the slide that you see right now is actually a student that just enrolled with us recently. She's just getting started. And one of the first things that she did, and she admitted it was very scary for her, which moved her from personal practice into peer practice, was she made a video to share with the community what she's doing, focusing on children of domestic violence, sexual abuse, eating disorders, and bullying, and women who have really struggled. She's building a vision around supporting and uplifting them. And to share that and to speak that out loud, it's huge. And to start doing that daily and to start putting every piece, and I'm going to go through those pieces again, every piece of this brand together, the messaging, the branding, the packaging, the whole thing, every day as she's sharing this and getting effective feedback from professional coaches and consultants is different. As she pieces it together, this is huge. This is pure practice. And this is just the beginning of that when she shares that in a safe environment, though. And to see the support that she got. I wanted to show what was underneath the post, because you would have seen over a dozen people within an hour responding, not just saying, oh, great, but with valuable impact. These are real relationships, and these are real collaborations that start to form because there's so many people with meaningful businesses with similar ideas and similar visions that come together in this community. So the peer practice moves into professional practice. People start supporting each other, promoting each other. Very important. This is how you step into that. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more, though, about this process, because that's the big picture of it. Personal, peer, and professional. If you're skipping peer practice, you've got a really tough road. And it's most likely that seed's just going to stay in your pocket, and you're going to pick it up and look at it and put it back in your pocket. It's never going to turn into that beautiful orchard until you move into peer practice and then into professional practice, which again, we support you in doing. We literally support you all the way through and getting paid as you're practicing. It's really important to understand. Okay, so now how do we do that? Here's the BrandMe tool. Remember when we talked about the brand imagery and the packaging and the marketing and the automation? We use this tool that we created that we actually use because we're going through personal, peer, and professional practice all the time as we evolve in our own business. And we needed really powerful, easy to use tools because we're not very technical, and WordPress and using those kinds of things, very time consuming, very expensive way of going about it. Now, if you already have a WordPress blog and you want to do it that way, that's fine. We have a lot of people who just prefer that. But as you're putting it together, as you're figuring it out, even those with really nice WordPress blogs in our community, they still use this tool because it's so fast. And I'm going to talk about that. It's so fast at being able to put together your brand imagery and figure out what it is and what your text and your messaging is going to say, and to figure out what that is, and to develop your voice and your brand presence and what is it you're exactly saying. And then the marketing funnel part, number 4, call to action and offers, to be able to develop that part of it where you've connected with your audience on a topic, and now you want to lead them to download something or to enter their email to access something. This tool makes it really super easy, and you've got all these people helping you do it. It's really easy to use, to be able to put together very quickly different combinations of images and text and messaging, and to get feedback and to figure out and look at it and very quickly, without there being this mechanical, costly, slow, boring process of putting it together, having it just be instantly created. You're like, wow, that looks really neat. Let's try it this way. And then you can create 2 versions and share both versions and see which one works better, which one's getting a better response. It's really fun. It's really neat. Let me kind of show you more of what this looks like. So on the right, you see an example of one use, because there's different templates and different ways to use this, but here's a simple example of what this looks like. You see the number 1, look on the right, number 1 in yellow, and then you see 2 in orange, 3 in orange, and the number 4 in orange. We start with number 1. Number 1 is the image, and we start to explore. Some of you will begin with the imagery. Like some of you might not even know what you're offering yet, or maybe you know what you're selling, but you're not sure how to present it in the world. You can, and you don't have to, but you can start with imagery, and many people do. And we help you through that. You go take pictures of different locations that speak to you. You don't even have to be in them initially. Wherever you're at right now in confidence level, we start there. And using this tool, we bring it to life. It's absolutely amazing how it works, because you start with where you're at and you do only what you can, and you keep it fun and you keep it energizing. So you're staying connected to what's important to you, and you bring it to life. You start with number 1 with the imagery. You're getting constant feedback and support through the process. Then you move into number 2, the text. Does this sound good? People are like, not sure what that really means. Does this sound good? Constant feedback with the text. Then we move into the video, where a lot of people are afraid how they look, how they sound. And we're working with you one-on-one and in groups, and you're sharing this and getting feedback from the group. There is nobody that we've had that has come in that didn't step into doing video, no matter how fearful of it they were, because it's so simple the way we've made it. It's so nurturing. It's so supportive. It's so encouraging. And you see, you're surrounded by people at different levels of this process. You see, you're with people at the same stage you're at, wherever that might be, and all the way to highly professional, highly successful. And you get to see where the highly professional people were not that long ago. And it's really inspiring to see the growth of everyone around you. It's really quite remarkable. So we work on imagery, we work on text and messaging, we work on voice and presentation. And then number 4 at the bottom is the call to action, the next step that leads people into your automated marketing funnel, including the page they land on next. And it takes all the way through to the sales page. So using this tool, which we don't charge additionally for, and by the way, tools like this outside the community, we just tried one to see how we'd like it, because we always want to see what's going on. Minimum $300 a month. And they don't help you create the content. They don't have any support. You've got to already know what you're offering, what your branding is, what your imagery is, what your text fonts are, what your message is. You have to already be good on video. You have to already know what all of that is. And you're paying $300 a month. We're like, what is this? This is what most of the people in the industry are using. And here you've got people here with the tool, and we think a far easier tool to use, and we're helping you daily work on each step of the content and the product and the marketing. Absolutely incredible. Okay, so this here is also part of the process. What we're looking at right here, you see a snapshot of something that Shannon Staples had posted. She's one of our coaches, started out as a student. She entered into our coaching school, and now she's developing her products and her programs. And by the way, she's getting paid as a coach. I just want to make that really clear. She didn't know what she wanted to do or what she would offer, what she would create. took our courses in coaching, and now she's a phenomenal coach and gets paid uh, from people that we introduced to her that are in the community. She gets paid by them to coach them. So she's in professional practice. That's just one example of what I mean by professional practice. Pretty amazing. And by the way, all of this costing less than other tools that are selling out there that are just marketing. It still boggles my mind. Okay, so that we pulled this off. It's really beautiful. So Shannon Staples is now moving into, she has a coaching practice now. She's getting paid as a coach, but she wants to develop programs. So this other part of the process is what we call the phase work. So a moment ago, I shared with you the tool and how that process works to help you figure out the branding and the marketing funnel and develop the confidence on video and get all the support in that process. But sometimes you have to do deeper personal practice. Now, some people get to skip over this part. Some people skip over it in the beginning and then later hear how helpful it was to others and come back to it. But this is what we call the phase work, where it's deep personal practice. And this is a process that helps you this is for those of you who don't have any idea what you want to offer yet. Or you kind of know, like Shannon, that she's a phenomenal coach, but she doesn't know how to turn that into tangible products or programs. This is the process that helps you in phase one get extremely clear on what you're all about, so that that's what's coming forth. And that's not only important for you to do an inventory of, but it's also extremely important when you're connecting with Robyn, or you're connecting with me, or you're connecting with one of the other consultants or students that have gone through this and have created all this, for us to see what you're all about. So that's coming forth, and our questions to you and our suggestions to you are specific to you, so that the brand and everything that you create and the products you create are really unique to you and really grounded and connected and inspiring for you, authentic. So phase one is doing the inventory. Phase two moves into research. Again, not everybody has to do this. Some of you are already clear what you want to create, but a good percentage of you are going to want to go through this process to know what you want to offer and create. So phase two is the research mode. You're looking now at what other people are offering and selling successfully in and around your interests. And then phase three brings it all together. What makes you unique from phase one, and what you discovered from the research in phase two about what's working out there. And then together, this is kind of where it moves into more peer practice. You work with us, you work with consultants, you work with people who already did this successfully, and you put it all together and then go back to that tool, go back to that other process I just showed you, where you piece it together now and build it all the way from your brand imagery to the text and messaging to your voice, talking about the things that are important and inspiring to you, that then lead to number 4 here at the bottom. And again, there's different templates and different things you can do. It doesn't always look like this, but whatever the next step is, moves them into that marketing funnel, which leads them to the sales page, which we also have a beautiful template for, so that you don't have to do the complicated technical stuff, all included. This is just an example of a page that Robyn made with the tool. And I'm going to pass this over to her to kind of share with you how she's used the tool to discover some of her messaging and discover what some of her products were, like Voice Asana. You can use this tool, even if you're successful already in any type of business, to try new ideas, to try new messaging. Or you can use this tool, as I said, for the first time to discover what that even is, as many of our students have.
Mike surely brings structure to life, doesn't he, guys? So the tool that we built, Mike and I worked with a programmer on, and it was something that came through because we, of course, didn't want to be spending an arm and a leg on tools that were of a disconnected culture in business. And we wanted to represent ourselves not just in one brand, not just in only the Academy of Coaching Cognition or only in the School of Business. We were building out Whole Life EDU, and we knew that our students are also building out multiple brands as well, like a book that has a specific audience to it and an imagery to it, and your coaching offers or your consulting offers or your live events. There's different brand elements that are involved with what you speak to. And the thing that really stumped me years and years ago, the reason why I did not build my presence online, was really two things. And the first thing was that I felt like I wasn't quite sure how to show up in business being who I really was and making money in a way that I needed to pay my bills and also to expand and innovate my business. So I didn't quite know how to get myself out there and present myself in an effective way online. And the second thing was what most of you say to me as well, is that you get overwhelmed technically and you just don't know where to put your money or your energy or your time and what to invest in. And most of you who I've spoken to have started building out your blogs and your websites, and it's not getting you where you want to be, and it's not attracting the audience because of the structure, because you're not leading people in effectively with being different, being you, being who you really are. So the process for me has been really wonderful because it saves me time. I literally get to build a full marketing funnel. Once I have my video and once I've done my photo shoot, I have a plethora of photos that I now have my go-to photo, my file in my computer. I get to go and surface all the photos I like to use. Once I have all that in place, it takes me 30 seconds to be able to upload a photo, put in my calls to action, be able to immediately say, well, what am I doing today? Oh, I'm inviting people into a live webinar. What is it all about? Well, it's about making your difference being you. And I immediately plug in an embedded code. I know exactly what I'm doing here. And I lead people effectively through a marketing funnel structure within 30 seconds. It doesn't take me long, and I do not like to be overwhelmed technically. I'm not a happy camper. So there's some examples here that our students, this is Dirk, he's one of our instructors here working on helping others do the same. It is something that anyone can do, anyone can use. You don't have to have a background technically. You don't even have to feel like you have a lot of time to do this. It's something that you can do simply. Once we work on your video presentations, that's why I developed voice asana to help my students be able to express themselves fully, being who they really are in their video presentations, using their voices to connect to their messages, to connect to their audience. We only have 15 seconds to captivate our audience. If we can use our voice, if we can use that inspired message within the first 15 seconds to compel our audience to take that next step, the action step, of course, we've got it. We're connecting. We're doing what it is we're here to do, to share our message, to be an inspiration to others. It doesn't have to be that difficult. And like one of my students, Rose, one of her keywords through the voice asana practice, what came through was joy. Joy is something that she cannot live without. Joy is something that she did not have when she had a quote unquote job. It's something that she's aspiring to now, and also something she teaches as part of her business method, connecting to joy for herself and joy in this process. And that's something that this process allows you to include, to have joy as you're building out your marketing funnels. This was an offer that I created to test. I used to teach meditation, I mentioned to you, to the billionaire CEO, to NFL players, and also to drug and alcohol patients. And it was something that I developed after years and years of practice and study, meditation visualization, and I created a marketing funnel to test, to see what it would happen, because it's something that I love to teach on. And I don't have a lot of time to hold live event after live event after live event. My goal was to not just hold live events and work with a group of people to maybe 100 people at a time, but my goal was to inspire millions of people around the world. And being online, as Mike mentioned, you don't only get to leverage your skills and your talents in multiple areas, which of course was great for me because I love to teach on different things, but you also get to inspire so many more people, and you free up your time and you make more money along the way. You get to expose yourself in different areas. I don't only teach on meditation and guiding people there. Of course, as you know, I teach on business, I teach on marketing, I teach on branding, I teach on voice, I teach on connection. There's so many things we get to do, video presentations. Marketing yourself through this process allows you to connect intimately to your message so that you can express yourself and build upon many more elements and layers, so it becomes clear. if you had asked me before what I was going to put in my marketing funnel, I would have scratched my head and looked at you cockeyed because I didn't know. I could tell you what I love to teach upon and what I love to talk about and what I loved to do on the side and what my business skills were. But in terms of putting your value into marketing funnels, the process that we guide you through literally would have saved me 10 years and so much agony, time, money, wasted headspace trying to figure it out. We really ground you to the process so that it becomes effortless for you, like planting the seed of intention that allows you to build forward, to grow the fruits that you want to grow. There's so many ways that we can help you express your message. This is a student here, Brenda, who holds events doing yoga. I love yoga. I love yoga teachers, but many yoga teachers out there don't have an online presence or don't know what to say, don't know how to attract their audiences using a simple marketing funnel. This allows you to do that. This is Shannon, as Mike mentioned earlier, with that phase work in front of her computer. She is working with Bernadette, one of our other students, in using an effective way to shoot herself simply, not hiring a videographer, but doing it on her own, very simply setting up the lighting and the backdrop. Once she knows her message, it becomes clear because she has this tool to guide her through it. This is Hazel. Hazel is a master meditator, and she teaches upon ways to connect to your potential. And she has been offering products and services offline. She's doing it now online and getting to reach people around the world. Here is Ellen, one of our prized students who is amazing at public speaking. She has years of experience. She also does intuitive designs as a weaver. She didn't know, she felt really disconnected in her head, not quite knowing how to really connect and collaborate her ideas and her passions on weaving and speaking. And she decided through the coaching skill, she gets to use all the loves that she has, all the passions she has, into a marketing funnel that leads her audience and connects them into something that she's inspired to teach on as she gets paid. Here is Violet. Violet underwent just last month out of nowhere, was diagnosed with a brain disorder. She had to have surgery out of just in a moment's notice. And she had to take a couple weeks off, came immediately back and started working on her brand imagery. She, before this process, didn't know how to put herself online, as I didn't either. She went through our courses using the branding elements, was inspired working with Mike and I, and was able to have this beautiful illustration now show through because she got in touch with who she really is and who she wants to show up as. She didn't know at this time of the photo shoot what her specific offers were going to be, but she knows now because she went through this process. The same with Rose. Rose, during a private session, said, well, I don't feel comfortable doing a photo shoot, Robyn, because I don't know what I'm going to offer. So I feel kind of silly doing a photo shoot when I don't really know my message. And immediately, as soon as she got this photo shoot back, she said, Robyn, this got me clear. I have more confidence. I know what I want to do. My message is teaching women with children the skills of empowerment, lifestyle skills, teaching them how to connect to their self, to self-care and to joy. She went through this process, and now as she's working with Mike and I and our community, her life is becoming her message. She's also getting her daughter involved, Ella, who is an 8-year-old wonder child who is watching Rose work with me with her voice asana using the voice asana practice. Ella, her daughter, is now creating her own videos by expressing herself, by just going in front of the camera and talking about something that inspires her to an audience that wants what she has to offer. This process allows you to do that. So now I'm going to hand it back to Mike and have him go through this process with you.
Back to a little bit of the technical. To finish this process up, we then have a BrandMe page that we use the tool to create your messaging, to create your branding, to create your marketing funnel through a process that's fun. We connect you to it each day, as I was saying earlier. And then you promote it and you move into professional practice, and you literally can start on, a $30 a month advertising campaign initially, and you start getting numbers back. And this is just a snapshot of some of the numbers of different pages that we market, offering different things. You get to see how many people are landing on the page. You get to test between two different, we call it split testing. You get to test between two different versions. So you might have this exact same funnel, exact same offer, but you weren't sure, should I have a long video? I have this longer video and I have this shorter video. And as a consultant, we're saying, they're both pretty good. Let's test it. And so you test it, and we see based on the results that one is doing better than the other. And this reading of the numbers, again, is not something to be afraid of. It's another form of communication. It's another form of connecting with your audience and listening, so that you can co-create and know what you're supposed to do next to make the money that you want to make, offering what you want to offer. So there's a connection between you and your audience. So once we have your BrandMe page together, once we have your initial offers together through that process that we shared with you, then we literally keep working with you. We literally keep working with you to read the numbers, to set up your advertising, to keep the budget small at first so that it's not this major cost issue, and know what exactly to do next to be able to make the money you want to make doing what you love. Just so you know, I don't like to throw out big numbers too often, because I think it disrupts the true intention of what we want to do. But I think it's also important to understand some of these things in terms of the experience that I have, and you having an opportunity to get this kind of help. The businesses that I've set up, I've generated well over, the last time I counted, which was quite a few years ago, well over 15 million in sales online. You have access to this support. You're not just watching videos with me. You literally get to know me, and I get to know you and work through this whole process with you, all the way through this process of reading the numbers and knowing how to listen to your audience through this other form of communication that's no less important than the forms of communication you value now, so that you can make money getting your message out, so you can have power and influence. I don't want you to be afraid of those words. The Dalai Lama has power and influence, and so do people who are destroying our environment. I want you to have power and influence too. That's a good thing when your intentions are good, and you have a meaningful message to share. This is part of that process. We don't stop at just helping you create a beautiful website and beautiful products. We stick with you all the way through the professional practice and beyond. I want to also point out a little bit more detail looking at this slide of the kind of help that you get. Here's Steve, the tabletop farmer we mentioned. He makes a post, and only 40 minutes went by, I want you to notice, looking for help with PowerPoint to build a presentation. After an opt-in video, he's putting together his marketing funnel. He needs help. John Williams comes in. Kim Kreutzer comes in. You have so many people to help you with the technical, the mechanical, the emotional. It's quite remarkable to be able to put every piece together. I'm going to now pass it over to Robyn to close out. For those of you who we do end up working with, I look forward to meeting you. I want to pass this over to Robyn to say a few words, and maybe I'll be talking with you soon.
Are you guys breathing over there? So getting really focused, really clear, creating the space for clarity to arise is essential in building out the layers of your branding, being able to connect to that deeper level of intention that you have to do something meaningful with your life, with the dreams you have. It's literally possible. I've helped many people who did not have the clarity before working with me. And honestly, I've thought a lot about it, and I've meditated on it for quite some time now. And I feel that the thing that stands between who we are being in this moment and who we really want to show up as in the next is just that awareness of our own potential And the belief that we have, if we truly are convicted in our abilities, there is a likelihood that we will act upon our conviction, and our confidence will increase and our courage will increase. And that means our action steps will be laid out upon us because we'll know what to do, and we will act and we will create results and we will know immediately what to do next. If we believe we have the potential and capability, but we do not act upon it, that means you do not have the conviction. That means you do not have the courage yet. That means there's something in the way. We must be able to step into this calling that we have. We must be able to say, yes, I'm not going to wait another moment. Now is the time. I am listening to my higher voice, or I'm listening to that sensation within me that has a desire to make a bigger difference. And this is what I want to do. Why would I waste time and energy, money, and just years upon years of trying to figure it out? This is here for you to guide you through this process. These are 3 images here. This is one of a campaign that I did on branding your vision, a video campaign that I held last year in the fall. Notice the imagery in the background. I believe that your brand can represent a part of you that's so unique and different that allows you to capitalize on it, make money as you're inspiring people and leading them in a really genuine way, in a way that only you can do. I truly believe that's possible for you, but we must be able to say, now is when I decide and choose that I am capable of this, and I will be convicted in my belief. I will be assured that this is something that I will want to do. And if that is true for you, then I want to work with you. I would love to work with you and see if this is a good fit for you. Learning to captivate, it is the most important avenue. If you are going on video, you must learn how to captivate your audience and compel them to move. If you're able to do that, you will guide them through the process that you have and lead them through your voice and your inspired ideas and be able to help them and support them through. So now is the time to create your meaningful brand. If you are here with a desire to make that difference, to get your message out, or to figure out perhaps what your message will be, the world will be saved by the Western woman. I believe that if you have this desire, this intention, I and Mike and our team can help support you in bringing that through. It is possible for you. You must connect. If you did not yet connect with us, if you did not fill out and watch that video of me addressing this, then now is the time. If you did, then I will be reaching out, or maybe I've already reached out and connected with you. If you have not answered that powerful question on that page, immediately in this moment, do not waste another desired moment. Go to wholelifeedu.com and connect with me. Answer the question on that page, and let's see if we can help you and support you in creating a brand that's inspired and meaningful for you and everyone that you're here to reach.